like 2 minutes late. Thank you guys for coming. My name is Tiffany Everett, head of social at EA Sports. So I work on our Madden brand in college football. And then I also advise across our EA Sports brand for social. And I am excited to bring this panel to you today on sports and entertainment. I will go down the line and introduce our panelists. Oh, more people are coming in. Jesse Shelley is Director of Production at Uninterrupted, Spring Hill Company. Then we have Aisha Cheney, she's Coordinating Producer 2 for SportsCenter LA at ESPN. And Jordan Dolene is the Head of Social and Influencer Marketing at National Women's Soccer League. Bring your peeps. Oh. Awesome. We will kick this off first by asking each person, can you walk us through your job responsibilities and what an ideal day looks like in your role?
Being in production, I probably touch every single department. I'm behind the scenes, so even doing this is kind of out of my norm because I'm always the person making stuff happen. So I work a lot with legal, I do a lot of budgets, I forecast, I actualize, I hire, crew, make sure talent's good, depending on what kind of show I'm working. So I'm basically logistics executor, making sure everybody's happy, making sure everybody's fed, making sure everybody's paid, and making sure legal-wise we're taken care of.
Hi, everybody. So my job is very detailed, but a quick overview. You know, I work on the SportsCenter that repeats throughout the night. So there are multiple versions of SportsCenter throughout the day, obviously, but ours is the one that runs multiple times. So we kind of approach it a little bit differently because when a lot of things happen, it's like, say Damian Lillard Damian Lillard, he gets traded earlier in the day. So when our show goes on at 10 o'clock at night, that's not something that we're going to lead with. We're probably going to lead with, you know, a highlight that just ended like 30 minutes prior. You know, it's like you keep it fresh, but Dame will go a little bit lower, still in the first block of the show, but like later. So I just have oversight of everything. I work directly with my producer to help, you know, create the rundown daily. And our job is just basically to put together the best hour of television. It ends up being 41 minutes of content, 19 minutes of commercials. Have a whole staff that I'm responsible for schedules. I usually do anywhere from 1 to 3 meetings at home before I even get to work because, you know, we have our office in downtown LA, but the headquarters is in Bristol, Connecticut. And, you know, I still have meetings with people that are in Bristol. I can't expect them to stay until 7 o'clock at night Eastern to have meetings, so I have to do those meetings from home. And then we get to work and we have a production meeting and then we all go in the newsroom and decide what's going to change. It's like you can go in with a plan, but then if the game goes into double overtime, naturally you're going to lead with that instead. So lots of movement, but it's fun. There's nothing quite like live television.
And I'm Jordan. I'm the head of social and influencer marketing for the NFL. I used to be at the NFL. I'm so sorry. It's been like 4 months. Bear with me. NWSL. Stroke that. Anyways, NWSL, not to be confused with the other football league, the women's soccer league. And so my day-to-day is a lot. We're a pretty small team, so I'm overseeing day-to-day programming of our NWSL social channels. So anything that you see that goes out onto our channels, our team is both behind the strategy, the content development, the programming, everything. And so that's kind of a day-to-day thing, and then we're overseeing everything of our integrated marketing campaign. So for any event or initiative or just the league brand more broadly, how can we look at that kind of holistically and where does social fit within that marketing plan? And how can we continue to really just drive forward the brand of our league and our players and our clubs and continue to build the league here in the US. And so it's anywhere from like content production, strategy, partner marketing, you name it, we kind of touch everything. I'd say social, I personally think it sits at the middle of every business at this point, because there's not a department that we don't work with, whether it's football ops, which is football ops at the end of USL, I'm not confused. Football ops or PR or legal or product, literally every part of the business we touch the social side, and so that's the social part of it, and then oversee influencer marketing. So any of our influencer marketing efforts, whether it's apparel collabs, so like merch collabs, or bringing talent out to games, or content partnerships. Yeah, it's a lot.
Fun fact, all three ladies are NFL alumni, so that's kind of where you heard this but yes, all of them are NFL alumni, and just in working on the Madden team, I had the pleasure of working with all of them in their different roles, so glad to have them here. All right, next question. So how do you see the role of technology shaping the future of sports and entertainment experiences? Jordan, I'll kick it off with you.
Yeah, I mean, I know it seems like a buzzy topic, but it's very much a part of our everyday, and AI, it does play a really big role, and I know there's some, like, people are wary of, like, what it'll do and how much we can automate, but everything's just gonna get more custom. I know we look at social as, like, a one-to-many platform and a less focused platform that's maybe like an email marketing or something like that. And so looking at AI, we're able to employ AI to put together like bespoke video content for, like, you're a fan, but you're a different fan. We could put together a specific highlight video for you versus you. And that's just continuing to evolve. So not just what you're seeing. So what you're seeing on social is being, if you look at a highlight, a game, there's AI cutting the game, identifying every single play that's happening, automatically cutting it, and then you can filter through and be like, I want every goal Sophia Smith has scored this year, put it together, make it, 9:16, export it, throw a brand logo on there, and put it out on social. And one person can do that instead of the job of somebody has to clip and find the highlights. And so it's just like making things efficient so you can really focus on the strategy and focus on the creative content development, and really jobs that are a lot of work for very little output, where like cutting highlights, it's going to optimize some of that, and I think ultimately just result in better content for fans and better access. And so I'd say AI is a big piece of it, and just like one piece of technology.
For me, being logistics and the technical part, I think that it's beneficial. Just like an example, when I was a PA years ago, it's not age myself, we would have put releases out, get every signature that might be on camera to make sure that they're okay to be filmed. Now we use a software where it's a QR code. So you give it to anybody, they QR, they put all their information in the QR, and now you have the release, you have the picture, and then you export it into the post-production. So it makes it easier for post-production to look, and then the AI identifies that person and says you're clear to go. So it's random that it's kind of scary, because it's actually really scary, but it's actually super efficient, especially from a legal standpoint, from a production standpoint, because there's a lot of cases that somebody gets blurred out, you have to do a lot of blurring, or if you are actually capturing a camera and you decide you don't want to be a camera, there's a lot of lawsuits. So I think it's one of those things, it's scary, but I think there's definitely beneficial reasons of using it and the new products, and even like in the technical rooms, there's different things that they're doing that are evolving, that are making it easier workflow. Of course, what Jordan said about taking some people longer or multiple people doing it, it might take certain jobs, but somebody still has to execute it. I still have to pay a bill, so I still need it. And then we still have to make sure it gets posted, so you still need something to facilitate. But I think after the scare, I think there's benefits to a lot of departments using different technology and AI.
Tiff, can I just chime in real quick? I initially wasn't going to answer this question because it's not really my bag, like I'm on the linear side still doing live TV, but I feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't just bring up what just happened on Sunday with the London game. I just wanted to see.
Can you explain it for those that don't know?
So the Toy Story game.
How many people saw that? How many people saw the Toy Story game?
It's pretty incredible, right? It's like the first time we saw something similar to that. It wasn't animated, but when we all were still working for NFL, we did the Nickelodeon game, and Nate Burleson was explaining what was happening, and the way he was just explaining it to the kids was great. And so for that to evolve years later into something like this, it's just like the possibilities are endless of what we are able to do, and even though that wasn't directly my team, because again, I'm in the control room and doing Sports Center nightly, but I just thought that was pretty awesome. And we have an innovation team and a lot of great different departments, and the things that they're able to do, using Slinky Dog was the chains, that was my favorite part. And I was like, he's really the down marker. How clever is that? Whoever
Somebody had to really think through that.
Yes, give that person a huge bonus, because that's incredible. I just thought it was great.
Yeah, good stuff. So in an era of streaming services and digital content, how are traditional media and live events staying relevant? What have you seen work well or not? Jesse?
I think this just expands what you can do. I work for Spring Hill Uninterrupted, that's LeBron James' company, and so I do his show, The Shop. And currently we're doing so many different formats of The Shop. From YouTube, that's where we put the main hero show, a lot of social media, that's how marketing is all social media, but we also did live events this year, and so that even looks different, and I think it's expanding, and I think that there's hit or miss. You don't know how many people are going to show up, but we have people outside the door using the same product that we produce for TV, social media, excited to be in the room for events. I think that's super exciting, and always come from NFL having many events, that's what they actually capitalize on, the events outside of just the football games that are airing. So I think it's just growing, and it's exciting, and you could use one IP and just use it in different formats to get different engagement from different people. So
I can give you guys one specific example that happened recently. The biggest story in college football this year is what?
Yeah.
Exactly. Deion Sanders, what he's been able to do. The fact that just them beating TCU the first game was pretty incredible, but then they won again. It's okay, they've already doubled their win total from last year, but we knew going into their Colorado State-Colorado game, and our show followed it. We don't get a ton of post-game opportunities, because that usually goes to Scott Van Pelt, right? So even my producer in our meeting said to everyone, we're going to have a big number tonight. So let's just make sure that we come correct and we're doing everything we're supposed to do. We're going to treat this like a true post-game scenario. Little did we know it was going to go into double overtime. It was such a good game, but it was great. And we planned in advance to have Shedeur Sanders or whoever the star of the game was doing a live talkback with us, just like you guys see on the SVP show all the time. And the game ended at 2:28 Eastern in the middle of the night, okay? And we were responsible from 2:28 till 3:30. And when we looked at the numbers afterwards, we still had, it was a record number for us for the year, 2.6 million viewers, which is a lot for our show, especially in the middle of the night. I don't want to say the problem, but one of the issues was, that's our show that repeats throughout the night, right? Deion in that 2:28 to 3:30 did not speak. So we had to go to him live when it happened. Usually you just go to a live presser for a couple minutes. I said to my producer, I'm we're going to stay on it for, you can't turn this off. And so when he finally sat down, it was 3:35, 3:40. I'm speaking in Eastern times. But when we looked at that number, we ended up staying on it for 10 minutes and 20 seconds, which is kind of unheard of. Because that means you then have to, again, you only have 41 minutes of content that you're filming for the whole show. If we spend 10 minutes just on Deion, then you have to kill other things in the show, right? And we were there very, very late, but it was all worth it, because even though Deion came out that late, we still kept about 1.1 million viewers that late. So I said all that to say that even in this industry where, live TV is going away, and things are evolving, and social and digital and all that, because of the Sports Center brand and because we have live events that we follow, we still have strong numbers, and that's very encouraging. Then on top of that, back to Shador Sanders, that interview fully went viral after it happened. So I think we peaked at like 3.1 million viewers when we had him speak to Stan like 3 minutes after the game ended. And people were tweeting about it. It was like we fully went viral. And then I think everyone saw Tom Brady even responded to it. So something like that just goes to show how something that happens on TV can carry a big number on social, Twitter, and Instagram, etc. We sent it to our social friends. We sent it to ESPN.com. So it was posted on our website before our show even ended. We sent it to our YouTube channel. So it still gets a lot of eyes on multiple platforms. And that's like a dream scenario of what we strive to do. And you can't do that all the time. We're not always going to follow a Colorado game, but whether we have Israel Adesanya on to promote a big UFC match or fight like that Saturday, or a few months ago we had Tank Davis and Garcia, and they were going at it, and because it was so animated, we sent it to the social team, we sent it to .com and the YouTube channel, and the very next day before the fight even happened, it was already at 1 million views. So I just love that it all works together.
But to go back to what you said about live TV, I don't know who watches Dance with the Stars. If anybody, I'm a huge fan.
I used to side of the panel.
I used to work at Dance with the Stars for years, and if you know, it was on ABC, which is fine. But they last year decided to try to do it on Disney Plus. Think about middle America or our grandparents or our parents. They don't know how to get to Disney Plus. Like they don't want to spend the extra $7.99 to watch it. So Dance with the Stars actually, the numbers did not do well until this year. Now they decided to air it both times. They're now back on ABC and they also air on Disney Plus. I watch on Disney Plus because I can hold it and the commercials the next day are gone. But and the numbers, and they also switched today finally, instead of competing with Monday Night Football, they're now on Tuesdays. I've said for years, like, people watch, So now the numbers last week were the biggest they've been in years. But that's something when they tried to get their streamers over to, or people to Disney Plus, it didn't work. And so now they're like, okay, we have to keep our numbers up. So now they're both on ABC and Disney Plus. But another example that didn't work, CNN, I'm not sure if you guys remember, they last year tried to pitch CNN Plus. Within 2 weeks, they canceled it. So it's really hit or miss. Amazon's doing well with Thursday Night Football because you know what? You can't get Thursday Night Football on any other network. You have to watch it on Amazon. So it's very strategic, and it's also what you are producing that can succeed or fail. And I think a lot of companies are working on that. And how HBO Max, like, what is it now? Like, it's changed so many. And it's like, what are they trying to do? But now, so it depends what you're putting out. I think that's a big effect. But I don't think live TV is going anywhere because of the people not on the West and East Coast, people that don't know how to use social media or streamers, or financially can afford those extra apps.
Yeah. So, in my day-to-day, so working at EA Sports and on social, we're always looking at how to leverage the social platforms and the content to work with different athletes and legends to get our Madden voice, I'll use Madden for example, onto athletes channels and show the partnership. So for those that are familiar, you'll see a lot of brands that do Instagram collabs, right? So we do a lot of that. So Jordan, can you share insights on the impact of social media and digital platforms on athlete and celebrity branding?
Yeah, I mean, we could probably do a whole panel on just this topic alone. And when I was at the NFL for 8 years, and like my focus was player marketing, specifically on social and partnering and empowering the players to really tell their stories, both on and off the field, using social, but not just social, but leveraging the NFL's platforms, the NFL's partner platforms, and kind of making those connections and those relationships. And so you're seeing so much money get put into these partnerships that are not necessarily like business to business, but like person to person. And so finding people who have a similar brand or aligned with kind of the audience that you're trying to reach. So you'll see a lot of when you do a partnership, say we're doing a merch collab and, we're looking at a streetwear collab, and while it's great to have it on our NFL channels, like anytime if you look at a contract with that or at the league channels or whatever channels you're looking at, if you look at any of those contracts, it's always going to be written in that they need to post it on their channels, because like ultimately the goal is to reach those audience. And so, you know, back in the day, people would do like farming and like growth hacking, where they're like retweet, follow for follow. And so you're seeing a lot more people now really intentionally build their audiences so that you can speak to, this is who follows me, and maybe it's 25,000 people, but it's 25,000 very engaged and followers that are also interested in this specific thing. So for instance, like on NWSL channels, and we're trying to, you know, we have a really big women audience. Like that's, you know, we got our audience is huge on the women's side, and so it's beneficial to partner with us because a lot of these brands are looking for women and trying to engage women. We have an incredibly engaged audience, and so while we may be smaller than many of these brands, we may be the right target league to partner with on certain things. And so I think you're seeing just a lot more focused partnerships and really intentional, so fewer and better versus like, let's just get our brand everywhere and see, you know, what sticks. Like you're really working on building that like audience, and it's not just, you're not touching base with them once, it's consistently throughout the year. And so you see it a lot with athlete partnerships where they're no longer just, you know, a partner of a brand. The brand is coming to them and meeting them where they're at. So if you know, a player is particularly interested in like philanthropy and community service, you'll find a brand like a Walmart, it partners with a lot of players to do like community service work and really finances their community service work. And so I think there's a lot of people, we hire people full-time to manage the talent at networks. So to help, you know, get that talent, their highlight, their clips from the show, their hits, their interviews, everything, make graphics to drive conversation. And so I think the athlete partnership fundamentally just hasn't changed, but it's again becoming way more focused.
Oh, okay. I was like, please jump in.
No, I mean, the athlete part is funny because now I work with a lot of brand sponsorships and executing those productions, and the amount of money people get to post is crazy.
I always say I'm on the wrong side of the business. Like on the business side of socials, like I need to be on the other side because those are the people making money, the creators and the.
And they literally come for 45 minutes to an hour, maybe. I pay for their travel, I pay for this, I pay for that, and then they get a big old check just to post 1 or 2 times to air on social media, and it's mind-boggling.
Travis Kelsey.
I'll say that's what we would call like a transactional strategy, which like is probably not like a necessarily a best practice. I would say that's why you get really intentional with who you're aligning with and try to align like maybe their business endeavors with yours. And so if you have, you know, a player who's particularly interested in fashion or fitness and like they foresee a post-playing career and they want a fashion brand, how can you get them in those right rooms, and how can you partner with them to start building that piece of who they are? And so
Sometimes it's just a check.
and that's what we try to avoid.
Yeah, and it's also making sure that your content as a brand looks similar to or will appeal to, let's say, the athlete's audience as well, because it won't do as well if it's this branded static image when everything else they're posting is like on iPhone and it's gritty and they're in the streets or on the field and they're doing all this, and then it's like, here's a static ad that's very branded. It's not going to be worth it at the end. So, okay, so I'll speak from the gaming side. So in the gaming space, there's a need to have diverse representation in games, you know, so that we're telling people's stories, but then also on the hiring side as well. So I'd love to have each of you discuss the importance of diversity and inclusion in your industry and the efforts to promote it.
Absolutely. I started years ago. I'm not sure if people know female media. They do American Idol, Family Feud, Price is Right, all those game shows, America's Got Talent. I used to say all the American shows, American Idol, Innovators. That's where I started off. And production side was fine, but then I went to the corporate side. And female media is the biggest production company in the world. And I remember my first day, and the receptionist, who's a black female, I was like, okay. I walk in, take a tour, and I'm like, I'm the only black female, the only black person in the company, and this is the biggest production company in the world. And it used to scare me and intimidate me just because, you're different. But then I started capitalizing on that and just being a voice, and I would sit in the room and watch a lot of the shows before it aired and just gave my opinion from being a diverse female. And so I kind of took that, and then after I started getting hired, I got hired, more and more people started coming to the company because I'm like, hello, like, you need diversity in this company. So that was my first experience, and then going to NFL was, because that's when it started super diverse because talent's on there. But even there, I would always take the diverse person on the show because I could speak to them different. I had Tamar Braxton one year. If you know Tamar, she's not, but I would be Antonio Brown. I had him 1 year, and I would really call him and literally be like, Antonio, get your, because I could speak to him that way and he respected me. So not only just production side part, I was able to talk to the talent or get something talent a different way, and you got trust in talent in a different way just because they felt comfortable. Coming to the NFL, as we all know, it's a very male-dominant company. It's football, and I think we all have our different experiences there, and it was mind-boggling when I first started about the diversity. The numbers of women, the ratio was mind-boggling and surprising. I know it's out in the media, you can Google it. And it's changed, but they have a lot of work to do still, and I think we have to fight harder to get our voice heard, get appreciated, get the same salary, get identified, get the promotions. We have to fight harder, but you have to do it quietly because you can't be too lit, So I think now I'm over at Spring Hill, where it's extremely diverse because they're intentional. LeBron's team, they're very intentional on who they hire. They have a lot of women empowerment, all diversities, because what his product, that's what he stands for. And so it's very mind-boggling from where I started to where I'm at now, where I look around and I'm like, oh wow, it's extremely, every kind of race, every kind of genre. It's pretty amazing to be at a company that way, and the product they put out is intentional and extremely diverse and different kind of product and who they put and promote and showcase.
It also speaks to how things are changing, and like a lot of companies they could do better, but it's good to see, and I love that about your company. I'm what they call a boomerang employee at ESPN because I started my career there, was there for 9 years, left, went to NFL Network, and then I've been back now in this role for 2 years. And one of the things, just to kind of piggyback off of what Jesse said, the biggest difference, because people ask like, how's it different? Like, when I was a PA in Bristol, there was nothing but like white males in leadership, right? For the most part, I'd say maybe 90%, if I had to guess. And then when I was at NFL Network, I don't want to say the entire time, but most of the time I was there in production, from the PA level all the way up to vice president, I was the only black female. Like for 2 or 3 of the years, there was one more, Shanika Dabney Henderson, who I love very much. And people used to confuse us all the time. Be like, Shanika, I'm like, nope, Aisha.
You don't
sorry.
look alike.
It's like, come on, y'all. There's only 2 of us, and you're still calling us each other's names. It's very frustrating. But then she left, and it was just me. And it sucked. Like you don't want to be the only one, but I will say that I never felt like I leaned into it rather than trying to complain about it. I tried to bring more diversity. Sorry, I didn't have the mic up, but I tried to bring more people into the building because I feel like representation absolutely matters. I think it helped with my relationships with talent. Like I was a producer for multiple years. My first 4 years before I even became a producer, I was a segment producer, and I worked directly with Michael Irvin. And when we weren't in season, they would always get me or my producer, Andy Gregg, we called him Giant, to talk to Irv, because they knew that he would only pick up the phone for us, and Irv would even say sometimes, like, they know how to get me. I'm only answering the phone for Ish or Giant, and certain guys I work with, like James Jones, Willie McGinnis, D'Angelo Paul, like all former players, they actually have told me, or used to tell me, that when I would produce their shows, they're like, I want to do like great every time, because if we have a good show, it's going to make you look good, and I know you're the only like Black woman here. So stuff like that, when I say I would lean into it, like I would try to like use that to my advantage. But my point in saying all of that was, now that I'm back at ESPN and I actually have a seat at the table. Now I'm an executive. In my building in LA, we are super diverse. Like there's me, there's a white woman, another person who is like the head of security, he's an Asian man. There's the person who's in charge of production operations and our directors, Black man. Like it's super diverse, and that's one of the things that I love the most. And Judy, a guy, I believe she's Filipina. I hope I'm not butchering that, but I believe she's Filipina. She's the SVP of HR for ESPN. And she's been to all of the buildings. She's been to Charlotte, she's been to Longhorn Network, she's been to Bristol, our building, and she has told me on more than one occasion that our building has the best culture, that we are the most diverse, and we really it's very obvious that we care for our team, and we're doing what we can to be intentional and to grow that. But I would say not just the behind the scenes, but it impacts content too. It impacts the types of things that you're going to be putting on TV. And I'll just give one example. My content associate, her name is Nia Jones. She pitched an idea that she saw on social media, and I think she had a friend who went to USC. The Majorettes team, Cardinal Divas of USC. The fact that USC, which is obviously a PWI, they had a Majorettes team, like an HBCU school would. And she pitched that idea, and I just have to say, I don't know if 10 years ago a story like that would have been on SportsCenter, but because she pitched it and we got around it, and I was like, no, we're gonna. And it's not just because you have me in charge calling the shots, but it was her idea, and I not just her, but everyone on my team, I want to empower them and challenge them to continue to find those stories that we can just put on air. Just continue to be diverse.
I feel like you said a lot, but I guess on the social side, I think we're really uniquely positioned as the mouthpiece of a brand, and particularly in sports, and specifically a league who has hundreds of extremely diverse players. We have I don't know if there's a more global business than soccer at this point, and so if you walk into a league, any team, any business, and the social team is entirely white, that's concerning. Or if everybody's from the same background, we're sending videographers into people's homes, and I don't want someone to feel uncomfortable when I'm sending a videographer into their home, and I want people to be able to relate with their producer, and we're staffing entire shoots, and I don't want somebody to feel uncomfortable in the shoot and feel like someone can't understand the story that they're about to tell. And I know for us, at NFL and at NWSL, when we're trying to tell stories, we want to make sure that it's not just the voice of the social team, but it's the voice of everybody that we're representing with this piece of content. And so before we do anything, we're going to make sure that we have the voices that shaped it are unique, and whether it's their life, what experiences, their background, their race, their religion, anything. Try to get as diverse of a group as we can.
Well, we're going to do a lightning round, and then after that, we'll take questions from the audience really quick. So, super fast lightning round, please. What if we have a large number, I believe, of students in the room? So, what advice would you give to aspiring professionals looking to enter the sports and entertainment business? Jesse?
Shoot your shot. I would say the only thing, if you reach out to somebody on LinkedIn, if you reach out, talk to somebody, email, the only thing they can say is no. and you take that no and you move on, and just know there's a bigger plan, a bigger door to open, and just keep trying. And also my experience has been super weird. You don't know who is somebody connected to. You don't know who they know, so just be nice to everyone. I have a whole story, but time of how I got in the industry, but it's literally giving somebody a ride home. I had no idea, and his dad was the president, the head president of Freedom Media, and it was just because I was like, you need a ride home. So random, but just be nice, shoot your shot, don't take no for an answer, and follow up. Just follow up and just like, hey. Just checking in, not wanting anything, just saying hi, this is what I'm doing. That's my biggest advice.
I would say be informed. There's a lot that you can't control, but you can control how much you know. If you're going into a meeting, make sure you know what you're talking about. Don't be the person that came into the meeting and you're like, wait, Dame Lillard got traded? I don't know why I keep using him as an example, but because it just happened, But it's like, come on, you have to be tapped in, you have to know, and that's going to take you a long way. On top of that, network, just like Jesse said, it's important to network. You never know who you're going to meet. You never know who's going to speak your name in a room that you're not in. Networking is very, very important. And the last thing is just work hard. I encounter a lot of people, whether it's interns or, young people trying to get into the industry, and they instantly want to be a producer, and it doesn't work like that. I
Start on that. Say that again.
It does not work like that. You're not going to graduate and then the next year be a producer or a digital producer. Those people are very, very few. Sometimes it's because of nepotism. Sometimes it's, for other reasons. But I will say, you have to work hard. It's okay to start from the bottom. I was an intern at ESPN in 2003 making $8 an hour, came back, graduated from Howard, started 3 weeks later as a PA making $9.60 an hour. That was a long time ago.
With a degree, right?
With a degree though. But it's I worked hard, and after nearly 20 years in the industry, I'm an executive now. But it's because I worked hard. I didn't just expect it to be anything to be handed to me,
I have a lot of advice, so I'll just focus on job hunting, because I feel like that's next in your career path. And I would say that entry-level jobs, for the most part, everybody has the same experience, to be honest. And so when hiring managers, I've done a lot of hiring, and it's really difficult because you look at a resume and everybody looks pretty much the same at that point in their careers. And so if anybody tries to tell you that your interests, your volunteer work, or anything you've done just from a point of passion isn't important, that's just wrong. Or that's just not their philosophy on hiring people. And it's like dating. I have a very specific school of thought when I'm hiring, and I'm very focused on soft skills, and what someone knows to me is not going to leave an impression, as much of an impression as just how are you a conversationalist? Do you ask questions? Are you interested? So I would say just really lean into those interest points. And if you volunteered once in an event like this, say you helped put this event together, put it on your resume, because again, you'd be surprised how similar resumes look, especially at the entry level. So once you have that connection that gets your resume in front of someone, I think it's really helpful to know who you are, because I have to spend every day with you, and you work more than you do anything at this point in life, and so you want to enjoy who you work with. And so the last piece of that is make sure it's a mutual fit. I know it's easier said than done, but don't be so eager for a job that you take the wrong fit. If they don't seem like the right company, you look around and you don't see anybody that looks like you, and you're not ready to start your career like that, I think that's okay.
You're interviewing each other. They're not just interviewing you, right? So, yeah.
Yes.
Thank you guys very much. So we're going to take some questions, if there are, from the audience. If you raise your hand. Oh,
Okay, cool.
okay. Mic coming your way.
Hey, Nam from NFL Media. Super proud of you guys. Very, very, very proud. Very inspiring as well. So, again, digging deeper on the how to get a job thing. You have lots of young people here, from undergrads to business school folk, And what are you guys looking for when you guys are hiring? Some things I've heard from like what Jordan said and Jesse's like hustle, things like that. But some of these kids come in and they're like, I want to work for EA because I like video games. I'm passionate about video games, and I like NFL, but like I like sports. Everyone likes sports, so that's not enough to differentiate yourself. So like, what do you guys actually look for besides once we get past the fandom?
I was gonna say, I know you guys are at a really great school. It's a great school. That's probably not the first thing I look at because I went to a very, 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 very small school. And so I would say like the first thing that I truly, truly look at is one, like things that are specific to the job description, like written verbatim in the resume to say that like I've done these things. And then two, just attitude. I can't count how many times at NFL when we were hiring, we would have we'd have like 4 candidates at the end, and we would hire honestly the 4th best one technically, but they were like the most, coachable and like willing to learn and be a part of a team and, not ego-centered and, there's room to have a ton of pride in your work, but there's a fine line between like pride and ego. And so, I cannot overstate how important soft skills are and just being like a good teammate. It really sounds cliche, but I'm doubling, tripling, this might be my 4th time.
Sure, really quick, can you just give some examples of what soft skills are for those that don't know?
Yeah, I mean, soft skills, just like the ability to send a coherent email. So like sending an email, being able to like speak to your peers, speak to your manager, speak to a senior executive, it's gonna look different, and so, kind of just, it's really how you carry yourself and your ability to problem solving, big soft skill. Being like a solutions-oriented person, put solutions-oriented on your resume like tomorrow, because it's very important. So there's just a few.
So I'm actually in the middle of a hiring process right now for a production assistant. We've probably interviewed 7 people so far. I actually have another interview later today. But the biggest thing that my producers and I have been talking about, we will take the person who has a better sports knowledge and is truly passionate and cares and follows sports and knows over the person who has a ton of experience. Because the technical side can be taught, and the ideal candidate is a person who has experience and also the passion for sports. But if you tell me that you love the NFL and NBA, and I ask you like, what are the top storylines entering the NBA season, and you cannot tell me anything, I'm like almost instantly crossing you off the list. It's like, okay, maybe NBA is not your sport, but then you just said that it was your favorite. Like, did you not think we were going to follow up with if I'm asking you what are the top storylines in the NFL right now, and maybe it's somebody who works there, and you tell me it's something that you just heard earlier in the day on First Take, or that you just looked up because it was a headline. It's like, we can see through stuff like that. I want someone who's you don't need to know like trips left, cover 2, like you don't need to know that. Like, it's better if you do, but I just want someone who's like truly passionate about sports. If it's ESPN, because that's what we need. That's what we need on our team right now. Like, if I have to teach you what a 4-6-3 double play is, this may not be the job for you. It's like, be informed, do your work, do the work, and then the soft skills are obviously important too. But I really want someone who's going to be a good teammate. Like, I looked at the type of questions that they asked in the interview, because we asked at the end, do you have any questions for us? And some of the candidates really blew me away. I was like, I like him. Like, he's going to be a finalist simply because of the questions that he asked us, and the things that he cared about. He wanted to know, like, what's the culture like? Do you guys have a familial working environment? Like, what's it like on a day-to-day basis? Like, just really, really good questions.
Do your research, as everybody says, and also come prepared. Presentations a lot. Also, your resume is the one that gets you in the door. So really I actually paid somebody to do my resume, because it's like science for me. Like, I did a brain fart. I don't talk about myself. This is hard, Pay somebody to do your resume if you can't do it. But that is the first thing that's how you get the interview. So, and then also send a follow-up. And what I did was take a Microsoft Office class in college because my job, we all sit in front of a computer. So no softwares, no different type of softwares, and just be, ready to engage, presentations, everything, how you walk in the door, confidence, because people don't want, you have confidence, stand up straight, look in the eyes, and that's just for me, but I think that it helps. And if people need advice about how to interview, watch TikToks. When you go to interview, I'm not joking.
You're on there anyway.
You're on there, watch TikToks. I do a lot just for myself, for business, and how you present yourself, and there's so many different ones, how to do an interview, good questions for interview, watch them. It's informative, and so use your social media for yourself also, and how to present yourself and for an interview, and just be cautious and do your research on the person doing the interview.
Fun fact, TikTok is becoming one of the fastest growing search engines over Google. Some people say Google it. No, people are going to TikTok and looking for how to do things. Really quickly, I would say from the EA side, as a hiring manager, the first thing I look at is I'm really big on paying attention to detail. So if I look at your resume for face value and there's like misspelling, fonts off, this is up, this is down, this is over, that's going to tell me that if I need to rely on you to put a report together and present at our subatomic team, and present there, that I don't have to look at your work before you're presenting to leadership. You've got it. You've already got it down because you're paying attention to detail. Something else that's really important to me is cross-functional work, how well you work with other teams, with legal, with creative, with brand, especially on social. And then lastly, there's many more, but lastly, something that goes up to the top is, yes, you should know football, yes, you should know social media, but do you also know Photoshop? Because social media content is important. And yes, we do have a production team, love them, but sometimes we need to get gritty and make some stuff ourselves. So just putting yourself above other candidates that you don't know what they have when they're coming to the table, right? But you have all this extra, really will serve you. Any other questions? I know we only have a couple minutes. Okay, in the back.
I can speak.
It's for the audience. Yep.
Hi.
Hello, my name is Lillian. I'm a full-time MBA student, and I just want to thank you guys for presenting as a female woman of color too, trying to enter a not really heavily targeted, women arena of sports. It's just really inspiring to see you guys all here. And I want to ask one kind of general question, and one maybe more industry specific. The general one is just, I guess, how would you guys connect to your purpose in the work that you do, and how you serve the people in the respective companies that you're working at? I guess what drives you every day and keeps you passionate about your job? And then the second, more specific, is personally, I'm a very passionate dancer, and I know none of you guys are doing dance, but I would love to know sort of, as someone who's maybe more atypical in the industry or has jack of all trades backgrounds, how would you recommend someone to focus on obtaining specific skills versus being widespread, like knowing Photoshop, knowing specific soft skills, how to balance the specificity of a certain skill set or industry, but also have a wider generalist mindset and softer talent?
Due to timing, and we have a couple other questions really quick, we're gonna take the second one, and we can follow up with us after. Does anyone want to take that second
I was going to
one?
answer the first one.
Well, real quick about the dancing part.
Yes.
Immediately I'm like, oh, you're perfect for Dancing with the Stars production, because that's the thing. There's a whole bunch of dance shows, so put all that on your resume, because you never know what that attaches to, or is a conversation starter on your resume.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just gonna, to answer your first question, it's important to love what you do. My dad taught me at a very young age, if you find a job or you pursue a passion, doing something that you're passionate about and you really love, it's never gonna feel like work. And 19, almost 20 years later, he was so right. And I'm a fan too. I'm doing this, and what drives me and to put the best stuff on television and to lead with the best highlight, to make sure that a highlight that was supposed to be 2 minutes, but it went into triple overtime, and sometimes it needs to be 5. Give it that time, because that's true storytelling. You're a fan too, and you're really in it. And then personally, like, I'm really big on the DE&I portion of this as well, because my son is 8 years old and he's on the autism spectrum, and I am very intentional about everything that I do, and I make sure that we are including everything. Like the inclusivity part of it is very, very important to me, because I feel like the harder I work now, he will have to work so hard when he's older.
I feel like you're coming kind of soft. Can we do one more? Can we do, okay, there was a question in the front. Wait, did she need a mic? Oh.
I want to know, like you said, it took you 20 years to get from where you started to like an executive position. How did you not get discouraged, or like, I know you said you have to love what you do, but like, you can love what you do and also see no progress and get like unmotivated and stuff. So I want to know how you guys like personally got there.
Yeah, so it didn't take me that long. That's how long I've been in the industry now, but it took, I guess, 16 years to get into a senior, like, executive level. But you can still use your voice before that, like, you don't have to be in a senior position to be heard and to make an impact. And, I was making an impact when I was a segment producer. I was involved in other things. I tell people that all the time too, like, you can't just show up and do your job. You always have to do more, whether it's mentorship circles, whether it's executive office hours, whether it's a mentoring program. I've been a mentee and a mentor. I have tons of mentees now. You have to bring people up as you're climbing, and I feel like a lot of times, especially at NFL Network, I was the co-chair of our Black Engagement Network, an ERG, and I was in meetings with these people. I was in meetings with the C-suite level, and again, I wasn't even an executive yet, but I was answering questions that they're asking, because they wanted someone to speak up and give their opinion. And so I feel like that's honestly kind of why I am where I'm at now, because I'm not shy. Like, I am going to speak up and use my voice.
We are getting kicked out, but there's a panel that's supposed to have started like 2 minutes ago. So we're gonna jump off, but we'll be around if you guys have any additional questions.